Hello Tubesters, it's me Gav. Welcome to another one of my videos. This is take two. This is, that sounded ominous. This is the Type 23, yeah, it is a Type 23 frigate. It's HMS Kent. As I've said before, my favourite of all the frigates post-war from any nation. It's not just because it's British, it just happens to be my favourite. And I should have turned that off as well, shouldn't I? Who's that? Anyway, yeah, it's my build on the Type 23 frigate HMS Kent from Trumpeter. It's a full hull build, and it's only a small taste. Please losing my train of thought at the moment. I've been building the main mast with all the radar setup stanchions on, whatever you want to call them, and a few extras made by myself, so I'm looking down there because it's there, and just a couple of small bits on the hull. So I'm going to struggle getting the hull in the shot as like last time. Keep looking round, and I don't know where else I can go any higher with the camera. I have got my overhead light, obviously, which I've moved up to do the video and throw some extra light on. But I've looked at that before, and trying to get that on there, I just don't think it'll work. So we're a bit stuffed really, but we'll work around it somehow. We'll get there in the end. You know, we'll find some way of mounting a camera. But for now, I'm afraid you'll just have to put up with. I'm going to have to get it sort of sorted fairly soon, because once I start adding pieces to the ship itself, we want to really see the entire ship, don't we? Not just thirds. So it's got something's got to happen with that fairly short, calm down. Shortly, soon, weeks, months, I don't know, but we'll get it sorted. So all I've got, as I say, at the moment is the main mast, as I'd call it. I love my ships, but I don't know all the terminologies, especially on modern ones with all the radar fits and everything. But it's got all the radar gantries on and everything. Nothing painted, just photo etch brass, a few scratch built bits by myself, and a couple of bits. So there's only a couple of bits on the hull, but I'll just quickly go over those as well. So yeah, join me at the bench. We'll have a look at HMS Kent. As I say, I'm having loads of fun with it. It's not getting done every day. I mean, it took me a week to do this amount on the mast, just because I do like an hour at the end of the night or half an hour. I've just been doing it at the end of the night when I finish painting. And I've also got the FT-17 1/35 scale tank, First World War tank, which is almost there. Tracks are on her and everything. I'm just doing the very last bits of weathering, so you will probably see that later on in the week. And maybe some figures as well. Right, down to the bench. Well, Tubesters, not exactly what I had in mind. It actually does go up in the air and doesn't move I've got one of those camera tripod things. But we're still going to, obviously when we get in close, it's going to be fairly up in the air. Anyway, this is all a bit short notice now because I wasn't expecting to put that on. I wasn't expecting to put that on the camera straight away. That bang was my glasses cases. I've been hastily trying to get my reading bins on because I'll never see them otherwise. That's glasses. Right, the only bit I really need to show you is, get my grubby finger out of the way, but I don't really have anything else. Right, there we go. Let's just use this. Right, this here. I believe this is the gangway. Is that what they call it? You put it down on the side of the ship, down onto the harbour area, dockside, something like that. I love my ships, and yet I really got to get more into the terminologies. Now, they actually do obviously a plastic part. Yes, that is a plastic part wrapped up in foil with a bit of copper wire around it. We can go in closer if I can reach up to the camera. My life. Oh well, it works to a degree, doesn't it? Oh, now we're out of focusing. Come on, there we go. So I've wrapped the part up in the old foil and just wrapped some as if they've taken a few turns around with some rope, and I'll paint it rope colour and that, because I've seen a lot of these Type 23s actually had a grey tarp over them and then tied off varying amounts of rope, and that's what I thought, just for a bit of difference, that's what I'd do with that one. There isn't really a great deal else to show, but I did want to show this. The stern areas, yes, that is your real authentic naval terminology, that is, I believe, till I was an infantry soldier. The stern area on these early ones were fairly plain from what I can see. Now some have a, what would you call it, a piece that goes out to minimise the wake. I couldn't see if HMS Kent had one, and in the early 2000s, so I'm just leaving it like this. I'm bound to make a few more of these over time, so I might add one of those. I have seen other modelers add different ones. I've got two. Oh, lovely. That worked, didn't it? That really glued on well, that did. Oh, fair enough. At least I know it's come off. Right, I'm actually holding this up to the camera. This circle here is where the hawser goes through for when they're tying the ship off to the dockside. It needs a bit of like a welding bead put around it, so I've got to do that to that. That's fairly laser cut, or whatever they do with them, but cut open fairly like it looks there. Now the big problem I've got with this is Gav didn't paint that blooming underside, so I'll be getting the airbrush in there at some stage and flooding it out with some black grey, just to give that some darkness. Although there will be some netting going up the backs of these, but even, sorry, come on, focus. Yeah, there will be some netting going up over those in photo etch, I believe. And if I haven't got any in the two sets of photo etch I've got, because I'm not sure exactly what goes where, I will get some and add that, because it is normally blanked off. These early ones didn't seem to have, they've got like a towed array, as I call it, at the back. Obviously for sonar detection. I couldn't see that in these early ones. Never mind what, I never trust the kits anyway, I just go off and look myself. But these early ones I couldn't see that, and there's normally on this side here, can't even remember his port and starboard, but this side here has normally a yellow towed array in the back, and it's sometimes pushing slightly out on the safety canvas mesh that they put up to stop obviously the crew falling overboard. But on a lot of them, early photographs, you don't see it at all, and there's also different holes in that for towing cables that aren't. It's not on this one, and I've not seen it on the early versions of these, so I'm leaving it as is on that. Yeah, I did all the paint there, and when I stuck this top down here, I never gave a thought about that. You probably won't see it once you've got the mesh, the brass, the photo etch brass on there. You probably wouldn't see it, but I want to do it right, as right as Gav can do it. So as I say, I've got to put some weld beads on those little holes there as well. And that's about it, apart from having to re-stick the stuff that wasn't held on the first time. So yeah, that's that bit. Right guys, I apologise for the shiny paper, but there's not a great deal I can do about that. We need the light. So I've got some paint coming for the ship itself. I already had the like red oxide type paint and the black obviously, but the grey I had got some, because I prefer the lacquer paints, and I had got some, but I was unsure. That there's always, as there is a lot of the time with this type of thing, squabbles over what colour is what, so these guys are calling out Mr. Hobby, which I do use a lot of, and along with AK, and they've just got aircraft grey, dark sea grey, so yeah, there's always a bit of a a bit of a thing of, you know, what paint is really the right colour for these ships, and obviously later, earlier, that type of thing. But I'm hoping I'm going to have a go. Once the paint arrives, I'm going to have a go at doing all the hull. If you can see that with the glare, just see if I can turn that down slightly. Not better? Not really, because I think it's the above one, isn't it? But yeah, I'm hoping there's less glare on this one. I'm hoping to get the hull painted. I'm debating whether I do the blue as well, although a lot of them, when you actually see them, obviously with the grime of people walking up and down and machinery oil and wear and tear, they're not as often as blue as that, so we'll be weathering them up a bit. They are quite knocked about. I'm going to have a go, by the way, at showing the compression on the hull. So I'm going to be trying to measure it out, and there should be a laugh, and paint like the waffle type that you'll see on, if you have a look at any of these ships, and most modern ships, you'll see the framing underneath, where the compression on the hull plating, and on the bridge structures, the aircraft hangar, any structure really. Not so much I didn't see that much on the main radar mast, and this is what I'm doing at the moment. You'll see in a minute. That didn't seem too bad, I suppose, just because it's quite a tight configuration with the steel on top of the frame. But these are really quite knocked about as well, with that waffle type look to them. So that's what I'm going to try and replicate as well. I mean, what can possibly go wrong? Right, so that's what we're looking at. Next time you see, I'm hoping to get at least the hull of painted. I can see a load of tears coming with that one. And I think I've only ordered one pot of paint for the actual grey bits. I've a feeling I'm going to need more than one for the amount of repaints I'm going to be doing. Right, now, let's get to see the main radar mast in all its glory. I will get a close-up in a minute. It doesn't look a lot, but because I'm only doing it, you know, I suppose an hour a night, sometimes hour and a half, depending. There's a fair bit there, so let's get in a bit closer. Is it going to allow us to do it? Yeah, here we go. Right, let's go through this if we can. You'll see the odd bit like that there. I didn't notice that before. Oh, it's just a bit of dust. See, that's fairly loose. This antenna here. Hang on, let's get her up. This antenna here, that's all in one, but it's going to have supports up to it. I'm leaving all because I'm going to be using like that easy line. There's no point in any of that going on until the top of the ship. That sounds really technical again, doesn't it? But it's all glued down. There's no point putting the lines on because I'll just bust them all off. So I've got to be a bit careful with everything. But I mean, that's one piece there. Sorry, I'm trying not to break anything. That's one piece. These are one piece. You fold them, these gantries here, you fold them up side by side. These, as you can see, is a gap there. These, I believe, I'm not sure if it's these two or the other two, but they are glued on at the ends. There's two that are a part of it, you fold up, and two are glue on for some reason. There's a middle piece as well, which I don't know if you can see. Not really. It'll show up better when it's painted, but there's a piece inside that you have to glue in as well. Surprised now these little bits get knocked about. I don't want to break any off. What else have we got? Yeah, obviously you can see where I've had to super glue, because obviously you can't use normal glue, so there's a bit of roughness on there. Now these, can you see these stuck out on the side here? I've made these up with tiny bits of, I cut up a staple from that you'd put in like a, stapling papers together. And then for the bottom piece, which I could have probably got away with some flattened lead wire, but I thought it would be too weak. So I cut a staple up, and these are like isolators, I believe, for cables which will be added on later. Now they are on the plastic kit. There's just a tiny bit of plastic, and there's no shape to it. It's just literally like you'd almost think they needed to be removed. There's just the 3 bits of plastic on either side, and I thought, well, that looks a bit rough, so I'm going to have a go. I don't believe they're that overscale. They're not very tidy, I understand that, but yeah, that's they would have a cable going off into I'll take it they're isolators. So that's that. So I've added those on. As I say, I've flattened some lead wire out for the top piece. And where are we? Come on, Gav. So the top piece is a lead wire and the bottom piece, because these are actually 2 pieces, but in real life. But I've just put them as one. And if I really want to, I'll put a thin black line of paint around them to separate them, because that was too much. I'd either overscale it, or I just couldn't get it fine enough. So I just went with the one. It's better than what was there. I think this at the top on the main radar master, which is like the light's showing it off a bit here, but there's a top piece on here, as you can just see sticks up. I think in real life on most of the ships it looks bigger than the plastic part, but I was just a bit dubious whether it was or not, and I just thought, no, leave it there for now. The main radar cage, I don't know if it emits or receives, if it's just there for, I have no idea. The problem is with military ships as well, unless you work in them, obviously there's not a load of books on them, and obviously for secrecy, I suppose, but I don't know if that works. I take it works as a receiver as well. It's not just there as a little thing for people to stand on. But that actually came together quite well. I folded that up all right, and I've not actually, some bits I have glued, and others I just left them in place. Then you had to put these tiny little triangles, which I lost 2, and they were that tiny. I thought, there's no point trying to replicate them. Hopefully they'll be lost in amongst all the clutter. We've got our little camera, which I thought looked a bit smaller. Can you see that under there? Oh, crying out loud, we're not doing very good here, are we? This is a little camera there. It'll look better when there's some paint on, and it won't be so distracting. I believe that might be a tad smaller than it is in real life, but not by that much to try and replicate something to change it. They look like a wire, not a safety wire at all, just like a thick type of cable went round there. So I've just replicated that with some copper wire. So get in focus, Gav. These 2 underneath, so I'm trying not to pull any brass off. I should have put this on a handle first. Underneath, as you can see, they are actually wires that hung down. Now that one is probably hanging down a bit too much. The other one isn't so bad, but I just thought, no, leave it where it is, and there's a wire back there. I've just been looking at the radar mast, as I call it, and just seeing what bits I could infill in. There is some very thin cable. I could have removed that and put wire on and made it thicker, but I was a bit undecided if my wire was a bit thicker than that, so I left that as it is. What else? This is like that is a safety type of barrier. It's not fitted well, as in my fitting. I haven't done it right. I've never done this type of stuff before, so it's all a bit new. I did it by gluing one end and working round, and then glued the other, and then glued it in the middle. But I'm just wondering, really, to get to that point and to make the point sharper with the safety cage, I should have started from that end. But again, it's just a learning curve, really. I think that's about it. Obviously, we've got some little ladders on, which came, as I say, this is at Atlantic. Is it Atlantic Models? I think it's Atlantic Models photo etch brass I'm using on most of it. There is a bit that comes with the kit, and I do believe a lot of it is this antenna array. But I just thought, well, I'd paid the extra to get that spare photo etch sheet, so I thought I might as well use that. So hopefully, with a bit of paint on, it won't look too bad. As I say, I've never done anything like that really. I've done bits of photo etch, but nothing as delicate. As I say, it took about a week to do, with a couple of other bits that are on the side, which I'll show you the one bit, but the rest is just a bit of plastic work really. So yeah, that's our mast. Got to be a bit careful with it, it's a bit delicate. Right, let's pop it down there gently. And then the only thing else I really wanted to show you is I've made 11 of these. Where are we? There we go. These are Lifeboat. Let's pick her up. These are Lifeboat pods, if you want to call them that. I did get some resin ones from Atlantic Models, but to be fair, I thought these looked, they'd got a bit, you could see the bands around them. Well, you can't really on that with the light, but there's like little plastic bands to show reinforcing bands around the, obviously these blow open and obviously the life raft comes out. I didn't think they were better than the kit, to be honest with you. They're there as a reserve, so I've used the kit ones. There is a faint mould line on the top. Oh, where are we? There is a faint mould line on the top, and I will try and get that out. I only did those last night, so I wanted the glue to go off. And then this is out the etch is the Atlantic Model stuff, which I just did on a photo etch bender. This stuff is invaluable. If you're doing anything like this, get yourself some of this. Obviously, set super glue off straight away. When it's really fiddly like that radar mast, you want it to work fairly quick. And I thought that was quite good. And then I won't get these out. I'll just, and as you can see, we've got some. I did those last night. Oh, it's not going to work, is it? I don't know the proper names for it. I love these ships, and but again, it's so hard to get real details on them, you know. So I don't always know what everything's called. I'm sorry about that. I just like building them. Well, building them was my first one, but yeah, that could have been done better. Not by me. I just thought there's not even any locating pegs. It wasn't. You can get these as resin, I think, again from Atlantic Models, and I probably, if I was doing one again, I'd probably get one. You might be able to make your own up out of putty or something, but it is what it is. It's done now. You do find these again get knocked around by the weather, and it's surprising how dented and whatever these ships are. These go somewhere. Don't exactly know where. I put those up the other night. I don't know if these will fit yet, whether I've got to replace, there's these stanchions, whether they'll go in or not, or whether I'll have to replace them with some metal wire. I did leave the injection pin marks in the bottom. I did debate what to do. Probably should have removed them, and I still can remove them. I still might do a fill and remove them. It's just you're not going to see them when it's on the ship itself. And I had planned to put, there's different cables and that run under there, so I still might put some cable in underneath. I've just got to. I have to keep looking at different. Obviously, there's some lovely walk around photographs that people put up, and I use those for reference. So yeah, that's it. I showed those life rafts just a minute ago. I made 11 of those last night. Obviously, they've got to be painted up at some stage with a main mast. So that's it for that. Let's just put her there so I'm talking. So yeah, really enjoying it. It's there's sometimes you get a project and it just really takes your fancy. Some of these are slightly, they bend really easy, so that's bent down already. And you have to be careful before it pings off completely. But things like that, and this other one here, that's bent up some stage where I've been handling it. So you have to be really careful on these. They are fiddly. I just think it's been a really, it's one of those projects I've really enjoyed. There is a couple of handholds on here. debating whether if my little thin copper wire is thin enough, I may still put, and I can reach in there. There's some little handhold type brackets that on this mast as well. I might try and add those. I'm trying to make it a bit more of a project than just out the box and with some photo etch I've bought, if that makes sense. I have tried to. I have got a few doors in the photo etch brass seat, but not enough to replace the whole set. So I decided just to leave them on. You know, the next time I make another ship, obviously I'll look to what I can do with it. As I say, I've got my eyes when they TACOM are bringing a German frigate out, the modern German frigate, and I wouldn't mind getting that and putting it in the stash just so I know I've got one. But anyway, that's it, I think. As I say, there may be a tiny bit more added to this. I'm at the stage now where I'm building some more sub-assemblies up, just small ones at the moment, before I get onto some bridge structures. I know that I've heard some people say it's better to ignore what they say about building them off plan and then putting them on, because obviously there's lots of delicate parts and they can all be knocked about, and I do get that. I'm just following the plan at the moment, as in theirs, just because I don't really know what I'm doing, so it's just easier to follow some directions. And once I've built one, if I think, well, yeah, I would much prefer to build them on the deck up rather than sub-assemblies, then I'll do that on another ship. But at the moment, I'm happy with doing what I'm doing with this. I mean, when they bring that new frigate out, I think there's 3 in the class, and I think I was going to do the Hamburg. The problem is I don't know if there's any. I've not seen any photo etch out for that, and as I say, I can't really afford these great big Pontos stuff. Not that I don't know if they do that for modern, because you don't need any deck coverings or anything. But I just we'll see when it comes out. A lot more of the modern. This is a TACOM one, so it might well have a lot more photo etching than than maybe some of the other kits that come out from Trumpeter. They just do a very basic. The Trumpeter photo etch, which is better than nothing, is just like the array like this. It doesn't include. They got a couple of. In fact, I believe it might be the Trumpeter ladders I've used on this. They have a few ladders, but there's no railings. There's no. It is very, very basic. You seem to fall between 2 stools, really. You either have to get like these type Pontos sets, which for somebody on my budget is just not, I've got no chance, or you either, Atlantic Models have got a couple of photo etch sets out, mainly for the British Royal Navy stuff. So it'll be interesting to see what I can get at a reasonable price, because you can't. Well, let's put it another way. I'm sure there are some people that can can scratch build all this photo etch stuff, but you see how tiny that is. I'd be on a hiding to nothing trying to do that. I really would need to have photo etch, and it would be a shame. Having worked with it, it looks a lot more realistic than the more chunkier plastic pieces. So, right, guys, sorry to keep you. It's just been a really interesting little project. So I've been working on it a couple of weeks, and I've got the whole put together. But I haven't. As I say, I'm going to put the prop shafts on and the rudders on tonight or tomorrow night. See one last time if there's anything else I want to put on this section before I move on. To do more. So, guys, look after yourselves. Thanks for stopping by and taking a look. I really do appreciate it. I hope everything's going well with you and whatever you're doing in your projects, whether it's modelling, figure painting. Coming up, what have we got coming up? I've almost got a second. I've had one 18mm Old Guard regiment to show you for ages, but I'm just waiting to. It's all tough grass on it and everything, but I haven't done the last blow over of varnish because I was waiting to get obviously my airbrush and everything set up, which I'm going to do for the frigate. So it's just been waiting for that. Even the client hasn't seen them yet. So they will be coming up hopefully this week. What else have we got? I've almost done my first 10mm unit, 6mm units, and they've got to be based soon, so you'll see them fairly sharpish. The 1 in 35 scale FT17 tank, as I said, is just literally one weathering away now for a final reveal. So between now and the weekend, you'll see that. What else? So we'll be clearing the decks for those. I've made finally made a load of plaster cast rocks. Just I don't know why, because the Land Rover Pink Panther is only going to have a couple, but I thought I might as well do them all. I've got the moulds. So the Pink Panther will also be getting an outing. Whether it's, I don't think it'll be this week. It'll probably be next week. But at least I've got now all the bits I need for that. We've got some Wild West 28mm figures, which I've stuck down on wooden bases, and I'm going to just put some putty around ready for priming tomorrow. Sometime in the week you'll be seeing some more 28mm 30 Years War figures. What else? I think is that it, Gav? Oh, Snowspeeder's. I've just got to blow over some white paint on the base, which I'll be doing that tomorrow when I get me airbrush out. So you will see the Snowspeeder at some stage this week, because it's only just after everything's done on that now, apart from just giving the base a couple of different colours of paint. I've not put any rocks on or anything. I'm just keeping it as a snow base. So that's that. So you will see the Snowspeeder this week as well. I think that's about it. Is it, Gav? Is it? Yes. Come on, think. Yeah, because of everything else, I think I don't think there's anything else I need to show you. Once the FT17's done, we'll be returning to finally getting the F104 Starfighter. As I say, with my head, I sometimes shy away from stuff when I've made a stuff up, and that I lose confidence, and then it gets put in the ball. That's what happened with the Starfighter. But I love Starfighters. I was kindly given that by Military Modeller Paul, and I want to get that done. So that will be getting done, and you'll see some updates coming up on that one as well. And that means then, I believe, because the ship's just going to go on and on until it's done. I think we've also got the Tommy's War figures. They are tootling around in the background there. Progress stalled again, but I need to get the last load of window frames done, get those sorted, and we'll have a show and tell on those in another few days or a week. I don't know. We've got the we've got the 1680s figure even, the Williamite artillery gunner. He's getting all the face painted as well this week, and then we'll get on to basing him, and he'll be done, and we'll substitute him then for one of the Wild West figures as a paint along. So yeah, it's bimbling along slowly. After I've done the Starfighter, and I don't want to take on any other modelling projects because I'll have still be doing the ship. So once the Starfighter's done, I've got one out the stash. Well, I've earmarked it out the stash, ready for a build on that one as well, which will be a tank. Yeah, I'm waffling as I always do. Look after yourselves, guys. I appreciate all your kind comments and kind words. It really does pick me up, and as I say, as most people say, it makes doing the channel, it makes it worthwhile. You know, when you're going backwards and forwards with the people that are interested in what you're doing. So look after yourselves, and we'll catch each other very, very soon on another video.